What's up and welcome back to the channel. The name is Ninja Knight. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell up above for future uploads. Check out the links posted in the description down below to support the channel and consider joining the channel today. Thank you. So here I have the full reveal of the Transformers Kingdom Titan class, the Ark. Now I previously reported about this on this channel when the leaked listing went up, and then also then talked about it when the concept art got leaked and was put up online. What I find quite interesting is there has been some changes from what the initial concept art looked like, and particularly within the line itself. There was a crocodile fossilizer, there was a saber-tooth tiger or smilodon fossilizer, and then we had seen that there was a couple of other items, for example the likes of Polar Claw, that seem to have been nixed, or they're going to be put into the next line that seems to be coming out, which seems to be called the Golden Disc line. So I'll be curious to see what they do with that. But onto the Titan class Ark, this is something I find very interesting, that they are labelling it the Ark. They haven't given this Transformer a name, which I find quite curious. I had talked previously about it possibly being called Autonomus Maximus, and I think that that would have been a good name for this character, but they've decided not to do that. They've just named it the Ark. So whether that's something to do with the copyright or whatever, I think that that might have had a big say on why they've just called it the Ark rather than calling it Autonomus Maximus or even the Last Autobot, as some people wanted to call it. So first up here we can see the robot mode. Now I'm going to post a separate video in what I think is going to happen with this robot mode going forward, so do look out for that. Overall, I think the robot mode looks great. I like the Autobot symbols that are on it. There's two there. His head is very reminiscent of an Autobot symbol, and then we have a large red Autobot symbol here. I like the way the thrusters here form up the shins. I think that that's quite an interesting look, and it helps to break up the colour of the sculpt also, because it's a large part of it is orange, yellow, and then also there's nice blue hues. You'll also see here that seems to be some sort of battle damage, which I think looks nice. I know an awful lot of people that are Transformers fans are not fans of that, but I think overall when you think about the Ark, and particularly the fact that it crashes into the side of a mountain and into the side of a volcano, that it's going to be something that you would have to think about when you're looking at these figures, that there would be some sort of battle damage on it, and particularly because it's a space cruiser more or less that's carrying the rest of the Transformers, particularly from the original generation first lineup in that fourth series. You kind of have to say to yourself, well, it probably does go through some wear and tear. It has turrets on it here in its alternate mode. I think that this looks really nice. I do like the battle damage. I do think that there will be a number of fans that are out there that won't like that, and that will want it just to be painted all one colour. I can totally understand that, but I suppose maybe later on down the line Hasbro might re-release a version without the damage on it. That's what Hasbro does normally. So we can see here two Autobot symbols, very nice. Something that I did notice here was the large gap that's on the side. This is quite clearly going to be where the legs are formed. So is that the neatest of designs? Probably not, but I think that's kind of what you're going to have to go with, particularly with the shape that this character is in. It's an odd shape, and particularly the Transformer, and this being the first Ark from what I can recollect at the moment that transforms, is going to be something that's going to be interesting for the engineering point of view for the company. So we have turrets here on the top, and I think this is going to factor into who I think this might be possibly repainted and remolded into, and we see turrets on the bottom also here that I think look really nice. We move on then, and there's a smaller Transformer here that's also with this. There has been suggestion, particularly with the head sculpt, as we can see here, that this is going to be Mainframe, which is based on an Action Master character, and I think that that very much so could be the case, particularly with the head sculpt. Now when you look at the body overall, I think a lot of people like myself actually look at it and say that looks quite familiar. Well, it should, because it seems to me that they have used the body of Combiner Wars Silverbolt, so the Voyager class Silverbolt that they've used here now yet again, or they've certainly used a serious amount of parts that very much so gives up that vibe. I'd be curious to see if this actually can form the torso of a Combiner, or if they've left that out completely. So as you can see here, it's a nice robot mode, looks pretty cool. Autobot symbol here on the chest, and then the next image we're going to see is what it transforms into. It transforms into Teletran 1, so I think that this is absolutely brilliant that they've decided to make a Transformer out of Teletran 1. As we can see the plans here, we can see the globe, and I think this would be interesting to see what sort of scale that gives off, particularly with this being, as it seems, a Voyager class robot that transforms into something this size. I'd be curious to see the likes of Wheeljack and Cliffjumper and Bumblebee and Optimus Prime standing beside us. This is something that Hasbro have talked about previously, that they wanted to scale the Transformers. There's also a minifigure that seems to be coming with the Ark, But what I also find is very interesting is it doesn't seem to be any sort of weapon that's coming with this character. There doesn't seem to be any sort of guns. There doesn't seem to be any sort of major sword that is going to be coming along with this character. So here's a bit of a more of a close-up look at the character. And as you can see here, the face sculpt is brilliant. It looks really evocative of the Autobot symbol. One criticism I'm probably going to have is I would have liked the eye colour to be blue here. I don't really like the fact that it looks like it's yellow. I would have liked to see it being blue because I think that's something that we would attribute an awful lot to the Autobots, and I think that would have helped to bring out the eye colour, particularly on the face, would have looked a lot nicer here, but maybe they wanted to go with a uniform colour. As we move down through the figure, as you can see here, it's more closer. The Autobot symbols are a lot more closer towards the movie sort of style rather than the G1 style where there was a lot of spacing and gapping between them. As you can see, there's a lot of different colours that have been utilised, the likes of the silvers, your blacks, your greys. I think overall it looks good. I think when you're looking at this part here, and particularly this is some sort of criticism I think a lot of us will have with the Titans, particularly is the likes of the waist section and the hip section on these characters. They do look very thin, considering when you see a big bulky torso and you do see a very thin waist, it is something that does sort of stick out. But maybe they are looking at the hero proportions, particularly when you're looking at that sort of V shape. They will always do that with a hero type character. You see it in comic books an awful lot. Looking down here, we can see the turrets here on the leg. We can see some clips that are going to be used. And I like the blue that's being used here. I think that the blue looks really, really nice. Hopefully here now, this is going to be some sort of ankle tilt, ankle rocker. So then they'll be able to stand one way or the other. And then it'll be very dynamic then. What's curious about it, like I said, is it doesn't seem to be coming with any weapons. Granted, I do know you might say, well, it does have turrets all over it and that should really count as being the weapons, but there is no large gun and there is no large sword. As we can see here, the finger pieces here are quite odd, particularly at this piece here. You would assume that there is going to be a gun or some sort of sword or some sort of weapon that is going to fit within this Transformer's hand. When you're looking at this though, when you're looking at the arc in particular, it does give off a vibe of, well, are we going to get a Nemesis? Are we going to get maybe even the Predacon ship? Are we going to get the Maximal ship in the future? That is something I would be all in for, and I particularly think that this item is going to be retooled possibly and maybe remolded slightly and definitely recolored into another character. And I think there's an awful lot of talk about who that could be. But ultimately and overall, I think that this arc looks absolutely fantastic. I'm looking forward to getting it. I have all of the Titans. I think the Titans look wonderful. And if rumours are to be believed, it seems like the Titan class is going to be possibly phased out in the future. It seems like Hasbro want to move towards going with the Commander class, and there's an awful lot they can fit into that Commander class. And I think when you look at all of the Titans that have been done, who could they do yet again? I know John Warden was saying that he wanted to do Metroplex one last time, and he wanted to do kind of a refresh and a very much so new Metroplex. So possibly that's something they could do maybe in the future. I would like to see that. I know aftermarket prices for the first Metroplex have gone skyrocketing high, so I think that that's going to be something that's going to be popular if they decide to do it again. I think though the arc is going to be something that's going to be incredibly popular amongst Transformers fans. This is the first time we've gotten a Transformer at this scale with this alt mode, and I think that this is something that Transformers fans are definitely going to get. Factor in, they want to have this tied up with Beast Wars, and it is somewhere where the Beast Wars character stood into within the series. This is an iconic ship within the Transformers, and I think all Transformers fans are probably going to want it and are going to get it. I don't think this is going to be one where you're going to see an awful lot of people on message boards saying, well, they'll wait for a sale. This is something that I'll be all over as soon as there's a release for it, and I will be pre-ordering as soon as I can. And I'm saying that, and I'm not even being paid by the company. So I'm very much so looking forward to this. I think the Autobot head on it looks absolutely wonderful. I like the battle damage on it. I really do like that. And I think the colours on it really look like they're very nice. It's very vibrant. And I hope it turns out like this when we finally get it in hand. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure you share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell up above for future uploads. Check out the links posted in the description down below to support the channel. Join the channel today. Till all are one. Good luck.